Welcome to ESL Level 3-4. This week's topic is at school. We're going to talk about our future plans. We're going to talk about the difference between wants and needs. We're going to learn some computer terms, and we're going to offer advice. When we do these lessons this week, we will be using the present continuous tense, which is for actions happening right now, such as I am talking. And then for planned future actions, so the plant is going to get bigger. And for future, and we will also use the future tense for actions that have not yet happened, and we'll be using the helping verb will with those. All right, so let's start off by talking about a want versus a need. Want is to have a desire for something, to wish for something. A need is a requirement, something that you must have, but that is essential. It's more than just desirable. This can be tricky though, because everybody's wants and needs are different. You can think about a baby versus an 18-year-old. So a baby needs diapers, but an 18-year-old does not need diapers, right? So it is dependent upon the situation of each person, what is a want and a need, but we can agree that on some basics. So all people need air, they need water, healthy food, and shelter, right? Some things we might desire or want are perfume, soda, cake, a yacht, right? So the want and the need are different, and this will come up often in different situations. So there's a video that you can watch here. It talks about your budget and how to think about your wants and your needs. But let's talk about this scenario. So Sari is moving into a new apartment next week. She is 19, and this will be her first time living alone. Look over the list of items that she plans to buy for her new apartment and categorize them as a want or a need. We are adults. We are going to give Sari some advice. So throw pillows for the sofa, a want or a need. A bed or a sofa, do you require it or do you desire it? Turbo Ninja blender, want or need. A basic set of dishes, cleaning products, a big screen TV. What do you think? Are these things that she wants or things that she needs? After you've thought about the items, we'll go on to the sentence frames and fill them in with the vocabulary. So we might say, Sari needs a bed for her new apartment. Sari wants a big screen TV for her apartment. Perhaps she needs one. Maybe she has low eyesight and she needs a very big screen. We don't know. What do you think? Right? And then afterwards, we can give some advice using the term should. So Sari should get a bed for her new apartment, or Sari should not get a bed for her new apartment. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Use the vocabulary to build some sentences. All right. This week, we're going to talk about some technology terms. So we have a personal computer and a laptop. They have the same parts for the most part, but they are slightly different. So the part that we look at on a PC, we call a monitor, but if it's attached to the laptop, we call it a screen. We have external web camera on your PC that you plug in, but on a laptop, we'll have an internal web camera right above the screen. We call it a mouse when it has a cord and it's attached to your computer processing unit. But if it's part of the platform of your laptop, we call it a touchpad, right? So mostly the same things, but they are slightly different. Look those over, and then there's just some basic sentences. They give you the word in the beginning of the sentence, move it into the blank, and then say the sentence out loud. Practice, 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 right? All right. All right. In this week, in data, charts, and graphs, my favorite part of every lesson, let's look at some information about the types and units of storage. So the smallest type of storage is a bit. That's a 1 or a 0 in computer language. And the biggest type that we usually encounter at the store when we're shopping for computers are terabytes. So look at the questions and then think, should you pay attention to the amount of storage that a computer has? You probably should. We'll see why on the next slide. Okay, so the amount of storage that a computer has is very important. We have what's called RAM, which is the working memory. That's a measurement of storage. And we also have the internal storage, like the amount of space, the number of files that you can save in a tablet or a laptop or a PC. So we usually deal in this realm when we're shopping for computers, gigabytes, but you can find computers with terabytes now that has a lot more storage, because you can see that a gigabyte is like one movie, but a terabyte is like 200 movies. So that's a lot more storage. When we're talking about KBs or kilobytes, that's more for images and songs, smaller files. So read over the questions and think about them yourself, but let's look at a real life scenario. So first off, when you shop for a computer, they'll have two numbers that have like the GB or the TB. The first number will usually be the RAM. The smaller number will usually be the RAM. That's the amount of working memory that a computer has. And then the other number is the amount of storage space for the files. So we can see the more working memory and the more storage space you have, the more expensive your computer will be, right? So keep that in mind if you're shopping for a computer. But let's look at a real life scenario. So there's a game, it's called Fortnite. It's very popular. And if you want to play this game, you have to look up the Fortnite system requirements to see if you have a computer that has enough memory and enough space and proper graphics card to run this game. So they give here your recommendation, your minimum amount of RAM, and then the recommended amount of RAM, right? So if I look back at this first computer, I can see that this Chromebook for $139 has 2 gigabytes of working memory. So this computer will not play Fortnite. So that is why it's important to kind of know what you want to do on your computer before you make the purchase, to make sure that you have enough working memory and enough storage to do the things that you want to do. All right. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back after intermission. So take a breather, relax, rest your brain, and we'll be back for part 2 in just a sec. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back from intermission. Let's go ahead and start practicing talking. The first thing here for you is a conversation with a salesperson. Read it out loud to yourself or with a partner. It says, "Hello, I need a new computer." "Great. Do you want a laptop or a PC?" "I need a web camera, 16 gigabytes of memory, and it needs to have Windows, Chrome, or Safari." "I think one of these Chromebooks would meet your needs. Do you see any problems?" All right, practice the conversation, and then let's extend it to looking at some situations. Norma says she needs a web camera, 16 gigabytes of storage, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and either Windows, Chrome, or Safari operating system. Will this laptop work for Norma? Yes or no? What do you think? It has 2 gigabytes of RAM. Is that enough? No, that is not enough. This laptop will not work for Norma. Okay. For slang expressions and confusing words, we're going to continue practicing talking, and we're going to return to this word want versus need. So a want is a desire to have something. A need is a requirement. You must have it. You have to have it, right? So we're going to talk about someone's future plans, and we're going to talk about the scenario of Wilmer. Wilmer is 17 years old. He wants to open a body shop in America. What steps will Wilmer need to take to achieve his dream? All right, well, let's look. Wilmer is going to need to go for some special training. We call this sort of training vocational training. The trades or our skilled labor is called a vocation. So you might go to a vocational school to get special training to do a certain skill. And that's what Wilmer needs to do, right? Some facts about Wilmer. Wilmer is 17. He went to the 10th grade, but he has no diploma. He speaks Spanish, Garifuna, and some English. He currently resides in San Pedro Sula, Honduras. He is single, And his basic skills are small engine repair and basic construction, right? But he wants to learn to do more. So he has a lot of goals. This year, he will go to the US. Next year, he will study English. In 2 years, he will get a high school equivalency diploma. In 3 years, he will take a vocational course. In 5 years, he will open a business. And in 10 years, he will buy a house. These are Wilmer's plans. What are your plans? Do you have similar plans? All right. Might you take a course in collision repair at the local community college? Would you be interested in taking a different course? Let's talk about that in your class. All right. We have just some fill in the blanks with wants, needs, and need. The answers are on the following slide. Please read over the sentences and look at your options. We also have a nice video in here for you about some people who work in the trades. This video is about women in the trades and the different jobs that you can learn to do. Check it out and think, would vocational training be right for me? I don't know. You let us know, right? And then think about, what are your plans for the future? This year, next year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. What will you do? What are you going to do? What are your plans, right? Write those out, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the quiz. And then there's also just some fill in the blank sentences to say, I want to buy a house this year. I will need to save a down payment to achieve this goal, and so on, right? So look those over, fill out those sentences, and then we're going to come back for reading. If you're going to skip reading this week, no problem. And if you want to come and read along with us, we'll be back in 1 second. All right, y'all. Joining us for the reading section, this week's topic or article is called Children Lack Skill in Holding Pencils Due to iPads, from April 4th, 2018. So let's get into this and find out what is going on. All right. Technology is lowering children's ability to use pencils. Researchers said children spend so much time swiping screens that they cannot hold a pencil properly. Their hands do not have the muscle power to write properly. A researcher said children are not coming into school with the hand strength they had 10 years ago. Children are being given a pencil, but are increasingly not able to hold it because they don't have the skills. This seems like a problem. Okay. What effect does technology use have on children, according to the researchers? Why is it hard for children to hold a pencil properly, according to the researchers? And is it important for children to write and draw? What do you think? All right, part 2 of the article. Technology is changing how children write, draw, or make things. The researcher explained that it's easier to give a child an iPad than let them build muscles by playing, using building blocks, cutting and sticking, or pulling ropes. Children are not getting the skills they need to hold a pencil. Some researchers say technology creates bigger problems. If a child isn't strong enough to hold a pencil, perhaps their whole body is weak. They need to climb trees. All right, well, this is an interesting article, don't you think? So, who is making the claim that technology has negative impacts on children? According to the researchers, is it easier to give a child a pencil or an iPad? The researchers say the kids need to climb trees. Do you agree or disagree? Write a little bit about that in this week's quiz. End of this week's video. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your live meets, and thanks for joining a Delgado Adult Ed ESL program. Bye-bye, y'all.